August is here, which means we clearly need to talk about July. Specifically, what did I watch? If you're new here, don't forget to like and subscribe for more content like this. Let's get into it. I started off watching the James Dean film Rebel without a cause. Was it my favorite coming-of-age film ever? No, not necessarily, but it's amazing that this movie can still relate to me, even being created when it was. Artemis Fowl on Disney Plus is truly as bad as everyone is saying it is. I get it, yeah, it's a kids movie, but there are good kids movies out there, and this is definitely not it. Revisiting Mars Attacks from 1996, and this movie is terribly underrated. Everything about this movie I find so incredibly fun, and the humor is working on so many levels that I appreciate so much. Followed up by Hairspray, the 2007 version of it, and this movie's fun. It's not perfect in any way, and yes, it has the everything just kind of works out ending, but I liked it way more than I thought I originally would. Watching Alien for the first time in 2020 was definitely one of my favorite experiences so far. This film opens with just silence, showing you the ship, which is essentially its own character. It makes you feel claustrophobic, and especially introducing a villain that you hardly see throughout the movie, it builds tension in such an interesting way. It's easy to see why this has spawned off so many bad sequels and why it's still considered a classic. I then watched Eric Andre's Legalize Everything, and here's the thing, I love Eric Andre, his show is incredible, however the stand-up just didn't quite do it for me. I went back to watch the sequel to Alien, Aliens, and I definitely enjoyed this movie. However, I'm a little surprised why people are often comparing this and saying it could be even better than the first one. If anything, it's just as good, but I think it falls into that sequel issue a little too much, being very similar to the first film. Next was Hamilton, and I'm pretty sure you all know how I feel about Hamilton. If not, watch this video. I then watched Athlete A, which was a documentary around the scandal of the US gymnastics team. Clearly, this subject is important for everyone to watch. However, I just wish it was done in a more interesting film. I finally got around to watching Alex Garland's Ex Machina, and while it's not my favorite film of his, I can definitely see why this is favorited by so many people. I then watched I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry, and surprisingly, it's not as problematic as you think it might be watching it today. Next was Shirley, which again, review on this channel, followed by Palm Springs, which is still my favorite film I've seen this year. I decided to then go to Twister, which is like, yeah, fun to watch, I guess, just not really good. But hey, it was better than Scoob, which was really just not a great movie, which is unfortunate because I love the Scooby-Doo characters. They're so much fun, but it's like, let's try to make them not fun. Not only that, but let's try to make them not fun and bring in these other characters that nobody knows or even cares about.
I can't breathe.
Next, I rewatched Rear Window for the first time since high school, and while I did not care for this movie the first time I saw it, I guess I understood it more this time. Probably my least favorite Hitchcock film, which isn't saying much because all his other movies are near perfect. This film, however, does do a great job at building tension. You can't deny the impact it's had on so many future films. Next was the Coen brothers' Raising Arizona. Now, I will say Nicolas Cage and Holly Hunter were fantastic and so funny to watch, but this movie just didn't do it for me. To be quite honest, I feel like it's a Coen brothers thing. Like, I don't really fully connect with a lot of their movies, and this one was just, I'm sorry, I don't get it. To cleanse my palate, I then watched Seven Samurai, which is the 1954 epic. So many movies have followed in the footsteps of this film, and it's easy to see why. It was incredible. I then ended by watching the movie In Time, starring Justin Timberlake, and I'm sorry to say, I think I'm glad he does music again. This movie's just really bad. The concept is very intriguing, but just like other movies like The Circle, Downsizing, it takes an interesting idea and just makes it terrible. There's honestly nothing redeeming about this movie, and I am almost sad I wasted my time watching it.
If you had as much time as I have, what would you do with it?
Sure as hell wouldn't waste it.
As far as TV shows go, I am working my way back through Gilmore Girls for the second time, and I enjoy it so much more this time around. Actually laugh out loud funny, and the dialogue is incredible. I will say seasons 1 through 3 are probably my favorite, but I feel like I should just do a full video on this later on in the future. I caught a couple episodes of the Not Too Late Show with Elmo on HBO Max. I don't know why. I get this is a kid show, and so it's really unfair for me to review it, so I'll just say yeah, I watched it. Another thing that I watched that's hard to review is The Bachelor, greatest seasons of all time. I'm never going to convince anyone who doesn't already watch The Bachelor to watch The Bachelor, but here's what I'll say. If you want to binge old seasons, this is the way to do it. You're not going to make me watch the full first season of The Bachelor, but if you condense the whole thing to an hour, I will absolutely give it my time. I also got to check out most of the episodes of Down to Earth with Zac Efron on Netflix, and yeah, this show's charming. It's pretty much the same format we've seen a lot with celebrities going to other countries, experience the food and culture, but it's, you know, it's with Zac Zac Efron, so it's fun. And his buddy Darren is probably the best part of the show. Finally got around to finishing Silicon Valley, and let me tell you, this is one of the best comedies we have seen this decade. I'm fighting the urge to not do an immediate rewatch of the first season. It's just that good. And then finally, I ended with watching Dave, which is honestly a perfect first season. Lil Dicky has created a show just like his music that lures you in with the obscure, pretty obnoxious humor, but then actually has something to say and has a lot of actually really important things to say. The last several episodes of this show were so compelling and powerful. The dialogue is working on multiple levels here, as it appears to be just a one-off joke, but then also turns into commentary that he's talking to us about. Not only that, but one of my favorite things is when you think it's just a one-off gag joke in the beginning of the episode, and then later on in that episode or in the whole season, it actually becomes a theme and they bring it back and makes it actually something serious and powerful. So yeah, it's a great show. I watched a lot of great things this month. Please comment below your thoughts on anything that I mentioned. I know it was a lot, but I want to hear your thoughts. Again, if you like this video, leave it a like, subscribe for more content like this, and I will see you next time.